alive. Because I believe that a person dies when they no longer want to live. But I have a reason. Like, it gives me the motivation. I will stay alive. I will watch you become a success. Because I will not leave until I have.
With money, people go and see someone get harassed.
We on your block with Nike tags and ski masks, you see me? No nigga, you just better run fast. Yeah, they call me Deuce the Clip. No bitch, I get it lit. I'm from 1-5 Deuce, where all my niggas keep the stick. We on your block with Nike tags and ski masks, you see me? No nigga, you just better run fast. Yeah, they call me Deuce the Clip. No bitch, I get it lit. I'm from 1-5 Deuce, where all my niggas keep the stick. They also call me Fat BC, bitch, that's always in the hood. Gotta keep a Nike tech in so if a nigga wanna get judged. I ain't fucking with the ops, best believe I up a shot. Niggas say he G blanking, watch his 30 hit his top. Smack his waves, go insane, double land on with the game. Fuck ceilings on my mama, bitch, I let this 30 bang. Fuck whoever this the hood, if I see you, you better bud. I'm with the BRGs on my mama, we all hood. Bitch, you rolling or you moving, all my dancers get to hooping. Let me see my op like, and I bet this 30 get to shooting. Who the fuck is my ops? I don't see no compete. If I got my Glock, bitch, I'm finna leave them on the scene. No jumper, bitch, I'm with the homies, all summer. Dog double in, your bitch wanna be with the gang. If that nigga got some gold, I have the homies get his chain. I'm a chain snatcher, bitch, I'm a reverse Johnny Dang. Niggas take it to the net, cause they know they scary. I got a big ass stick and I ain't talking scary. Y'all niggas rats, I'm tryna kill you like Tom and Jerry. When it's go time, nigga, I bet you really scary. On hood. Devil in, bitch, on hood. Free the hoes, nigga. On nothing nice, bitch, against the kid, nigga. Good hoes.
What up, what up, what up? Hey, make sure y'all go and share this content, man, with your peoples, with everybody. Make sure y'all press the like and make sure everybody subscribe, y'all. Make sure y'all tap in, because at the end of the day, bro, there's a bigger war than just us gangbangers going down. It's the whole United States, the whole Russia, the whole Japan, the whole China, the whole, Afghanistan. It's a bigger war going on between us, man, and ain't everybody want to touch bases on the war that's going on right here at home, but don't nobody want to sit there and really touch bases with the war that's going on across the ocean and the sea and all this other stuff. Like, y'all sitting there beefing with each other, and we all might die. You get what I'm saying? Like, we all might not live. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we have Trump in office. We gotta look out for stuff like that, man. And yeah, man. Like, I'm gonna be the one to touch bases on this war, man. What's going on, man? I keep a lookout. I keep an eye out, man. Make sure we got control of our lives and stuff like that, bro. But when y'all come in, please press the like button. But I'm gonna get straight to the content, bro. We ain't finna hold it up, no none of that. But we gotta really look at this war that's going on over our heads, bro. Like, yeah, they talking about shooting nukes, ballistic missiles, I mean, I don't see nothing stopping ballistic missiles, but if they shoot nukes, everybody, this whole world going down. Like everybody is gonna die, bro. Like it ain't gonna be nobody left on this earth not to even bury your body. Because you gonna be dead. So ain't nobody gonna bury you. Probably all of us turn into zombies. Because life is gonna be lost. So yeah, man, let's play this real quick.
The U.S. military intercepted Russian and Chinese bombers in international airspace off of the coast of Alaska yesterday. New video just released by Russia showing U.S. and Canadian fighter jets intercepting Russian-Chinese military planes off the coast of Alaska.
The Arctic is no longer a frozen wasteland forgotten by the world, but is becoming one of the most contested regions on the planet. Russia and China are aggressively expanding their presence in the region as melting glaciers open new shipping routes and rich natural resources become accessible. Since late 2024, tensions and competition have increased in Alaska, Greenland, and other parts of the Arctic. While Russia and China are trying to develop a strategy in the region, Trump pressed the button in Alaska. American jets in Alaska have brought all the focus back to the region to take measures that could stop Russia and China. What is the United States military doing to counter Russian and Chinese threats near Alaska? Now, we are going to go to this strategic location surrounded by glaciers to find out what NORAD is doing against Russian and Chinese aircraft and who is really in control in and around Alaska. But first, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and give us a like to stay up to date with our content. Let us get started. Even if Russia's war in Ukraine is not over, it remains active in Alaska.
Building a complex website shouldn't feel so complicated. Go to Fiverr and find.
And China is trying to present itself as a near Arctic nation. Although the vast majority of the Arctic is under the jurisdiction of sovereign states, the Chinese wing aims to promote the Arctic region as a global commons in order to turn northern governance in its favor. The strategy also notes that while Russia and China's interests do not completely overlap, the war in Ukraine has brought them closer together and increased their military cooperation, especially through more exercises in the Arctic. But this watchful eye, harsh conditions for upgrades, and the Arctic's unique location make it difficult to maintain equipment and infrastructure. Of course, there is also the United States presence in the Arctic, especially in Alaska, which is one of the biggest obstacles for Russia and China. The United States side does not want to see either state's naval presence or fighter jets in the region. In order to increase space awareness in the region, the strategy includes the Pentagon investing in new technologies, such as updated radars, new satellites, and better communication networks. It also states that the Pentagon will maintain its current investments in manned and unmanned ISR platforms for the Arctic and conduct an analysis of requirements for future unmanned platforms. To prepare for responding to a crisis in the Arctic, the Pentagon wants to continue to conduct regular exercises and develop regional expertise. Russia regularly sends military aircraft near Alaska. Even though the United States and Canada were outside sovereign airspace, Russian fighter jets were entering the air defense identification zones of both countries. Bombers from Russia and China, which have formed a quasi-alliance, have flown a total of 9 missions since 2019, the last of which took place last November in the Western Pacific Ocean. It was these activities near the ADIZ that prompted the United States to take action. The ADIZ was international airspace that required identification of all aircraft, and the United States felt obliged to do something about it. Last summer, while conducting a joint air strategic patrol with their Russian counterparts, NORAD detected Chinese strategic bombers in the Alaskan ADIZ for the first time. NORAD is a unified American and Canadian military command that provides aviation warning, aviation control, and maritime warning to North America. including the detection, verification, and warning of attacks by aircraft, missiles, or spacecraft. It acts as a blockade of Russian and Chinese fighter jets, especially near Alaska. However, both Russian and Chinese fighter jets have continued their disruptive flights in the direction of Alaska despite NORAD's presence. NORAD has recently achieved a historic success in blocking Russian and Chinese fighter jets in the Arctic. It was a lesson for both countries, both of which plan to dominate the region. For United States President Donald Trump, this has been an incredibly empowering exercise in the Arctic, especially at this critical time. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, has released footage of fighter jets improving their ability to intercept Russian and Chinese bombers over Alaska. The Alaska NORAD region and Alaska Command recently announced that United States and Canadian aircraft intercepted a United States Air Force B-1B bomber over Alaska. This demonstrated the readiness of the United States and Canada to defend North America and respond to global security threats. Black and white footage showed an F-16 fighter jet flying alongside a B-1B bomber. According to the Royal Canadian Air Force, the exercise took place on March 5th and involved Canadian CF-18 and United States F-16 fighter jets. NORAD said the intercepted bomber was transiting through the United States Indo-Pacific Command's area of responsibility. This critical exercise was a clear message of intimidation to Russia and China. You are not alone in Alaska. In addition to this exercise, NORAD has also recently carried out important activities in the region. In January, 4 B-1B bombers were sent to Guam, the westernmost United States territory in the Western Pacific Ocean, for a bomber task force mission. It was unclear whether the bombers participating in the NORAD exercise returned to their home base in South Dakota. According to NORAD, the exercise was part of an operation known as Noble Defender, which demonstrates how North America can be protected from any approach by instantly scrambling aircraft from dispersed locations. The last time NORAD detected Russian military aircraft in the Alaskan ADZ prior to training activities for Russian and Chinese fighter jets was on February 19th. These monitoring activities revealed that Russian activity was occurring on a regular basis and demonstrated NORAD's ability to act immediately in the event of a threat. But how was NORAD able to undertake such an active mission against Russian and Chinese fighter jets in Alaska and the North? From which sources did intelligence come to the United States? NORAD has built a layered defense network of satellites, radars, and fighter jets to detect and track aircraft and communicate appropriate actions. The command has expressed readiness to use a range of response options in the defense of North America. The North American Aerospace Defense Command said in a statement that the Operation Noble Defender iteration demonstrates that it is ready, positioned, and well prepared to engage with other combatant commands to deter threats and defend common interests. Regular exercises with Air Force assets such as United States Indo-Pacific Command's Northern Edge, Northern Command's Noble Defender, and European Command's Arctic Challenge are crucial. Operations such as supporting the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, Air Police mission in Iceland, and providing airlift and refueling capabilities for United States and associated allied and partner aircraft in the Arctic are also ways to build this expertise. Air Force leaders have previously emphasized the importance of enhanced training in the Arctic. In 2023, Lieutenant General David S. Nahum, head of Alaska Command, addressed this issue during the AFA's Air, Space, and Cyber Conference. It is therefore not a surprise that the United States is conducting such exercises and security activities in the Arctic. Beyond exercises in the region, perhaps the Air Force's most unique Arctic capability is its LC-130, equipped with skis to land on the ice. But beyond the LC-130, the Air Force has a strong presence near the Arctic, with F-16 and F-35 fighters, KC-135 tanker aircraft, and HH-60 helicopters at Eielson Air Force Base in Alaska, and the Pentagon strategy specifically states that the presence of fighter jets will continue to increase. By the 2030s, the United States and its Arctic allies will operate more than 250 advanced multi-role fighter aircraft that can be deployed for Arctic operations, according to the document published by the United States Department of Defense. According to the document, the majority of Arctic allies will have the F-35. This is an incredible statistic. This strategy of the United States is critical, especially in order to overpower Russia and China in the region. China's ambitions over Alaska have recently hardened. Air Force General Gregory Guillot, head of the United States Northern Command and North American Aerospace Defense Command, told the Senate Armed Services Committee that Beijing is expected to intensify its presence not only in the skies, but also in the sea and underwater areas. Gregory Guillot also highlighted the growing military coordination between China and Russia in the region, signaling a deepening challenge for United States defense strategy. The momentum continued on July 10th, 2024, when 4 Chinese warships were sighted near Alaska, inside the United States exclusive economic zone. They arrived just a week after China and Russia launched their annual joint patrol in the Pacific. When approached by the United States Coast Guard, the Chinese Navy justified its presence as freedom of navigation operations. According to the Coast Guard, the Chinese vessels were complying with international norms, but United States forces responded in retaliation by meeting the presence with presence, ensuring the protection of American interests in Alaskan waters. It is not only China that is raising concerns. Moscow has also increased its unilateral bombing flights near Alaska and Canada to levels not seen in recent years. Russian military flights have triggered NORAD fighter patrols over the Arctic, and United States F-16 jets have been deployed in Greenland as a deterrent. According to United States officials, the Russia-China partnership is deepening at an alarming pace. Recently, their growing alignment is on full display, with China providing Russia with dual-use technology to fuel its war in Ukraine. In his testimony before the committee, General Guillot flagged this deepening cooperation as one of the greatest concerns. There are other reasons behind Russia and China's pivot to the Arctic, not only to pressure the United States, with the United States Geological Survey estimating that the Arctic holds 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and 30% of the world's natural gas. Global interest in the Arctic has increased. The launch of the United States National Arctic Strategy set the stage for today's geopolitical landscape. By 2022, Russian militarism and the PRC's Arctic Silk Road ambitions prompted the United States to update its Arctic strategy, emphasizing military readiness, infrastructure, and North Atlantic Treaty Organization cooperation. Before Trump, the Biden administration also prioritized investment in icebreakers, climate action, and indigenous engagement, striking a delicate balance between national security and sustainable development in an increasingly contested region. In fact, the United States has issued several Arctic policy documents since 2009. The 2009 Arctic Regional Policy Directive marked a significant shift in United States assessment, recognizing the importance of the Arctic, particularly in terms of energy and security. The 2013 National Strategy for the Arctic Region emphasized energy and United States security, environmental protection, freedom of navigation, access to resources, trade protection, and peaceful resolution. The 2022 National Strategy for the Arctic Region was more urgent. Marie-Anne Koninsk's, senior fellow at the Egmont Institute and former European Union ambassador, noted that in previous years, the United States Arctic commitment was not high on the federal agenda. The strategy marked a shift in United States policy, recognizing the Arctic as a critical region and addressing the challenges that have emerged since 2013. 4 key pillars were identified. These included security, climate change protection, sustainable development, and international governance. The strategy emphasized investment in climate change and sustainable development, while increasing capabilities to prevent threats to the United States and its allies. In 2023, United States Army General Van Herk argued to Congress the urgent need for a focused Arctic strategy, increased domain awareness, and a comprehensive defense framework at a time when these challenges are exacerbated by the advance of climate change and growing security challenges. The 2024 Department of Defense Arctic Strategy further recognized the growing importance of the Arctic due to climate change, geopolitical shifts, and increasing great power competition. And it instructed the Department of Defense to increase Arctic capabilities, deepen engagement with allies and partners, and use them to prepare forces for operations in high latitudes. It emphasized the critical defense objectives of protecting United States sovereignty, maintaining stability, and ensuring the Arctic's role as a secure pathway for power projection. The 2024 strategy included specific initiatives such as improved domain awareness, enhanced communications, intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance capabilities, a better understanding of cold weather operations, and conducting basic routine training with United States allies to strengthen joint capabilities. It emphasized cooperation and engagement with Arctic nations and indigenous communities. It emphasized climate adaptation measures. Through these efforts, the Department of Defense aimed to maintain a posture of monitoring and responding, ensuring that the Arctic remained peaceful while adapting to dynamic environmental and security conditions. Climate change has rapidly transformed the Arctic, making previously inaccessible areas more accessible for economic and strategic use. The Northern Sea Route and the Northwest Passage became economically viable by 2023. As access to critical resources expanded, states would change their strategies and intensify competition over the Arctic's growing economic and military importance. This competition was also driven by its militarization. In the last decade, Russia has modernized its military bases in the Arctic, deployed defensive missiles, and developed its submarine fleet, while developing its fisheries, oil, and mineral extraction. Russia's restrictive NSR claims have further escalated tensions, especially following its invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, the PRC has signaled growing ambitions by increasing its Arctic investments, exploring military applications, and expanding its icebreaker fleet. These developments highlighted the changing role of the Arctic in economic opportunities and strategic competition, while posing significant challenges to United States' grand strategy. This ongoing challenging dynamic was brought into the spotlight when United States Vice Admiral Lewis claimed that his fleet was ready to secure sea lanes in the Atlantic and Arctic. For example, in 2019, Secretary of State Pompeo condemned Russia's aggression in the Arctic, citing its regulations on NSR shipping, Arctic fortifications, and its actions in Ukraine. However, Pompeo's message did not elaborate on why the United States felt threatened, only that the United States would organize military exercises and increase its presence in the Arctic. To avoid further escalation, the United States was trying to ensure that its actions in the Arctic were decisive, predictable, consistent, and forthright. To avoid misinterpretations and unintended conflicts, the United States has been refining its messaging on Arctic security by clearly communicating its policies and red lines to Russia. This has continued from 2009 until today. The United States was aware that it would face more critical challenges in the region over time. The future accessibility of the Arctic made it more critical than ever, but Western investment was lagging behind. In response, Russia prioritized the development of the Arctic to attract traffic, especially the Northern Sea Route. From 2011 to 2015, Russian Arctic doctrine focused on building new ports, customs facilities, and maritime checkpoints along the Arctic coastline. Vladimir Putin emphasized the strategic importance of the Northern Sea Route, and Russia's 2035 development plan included $19 billion in infrastructure investment. These commitments underscored Russia's recognition of the value of the Northern Sea Route and the potential increase in cargo transportation in the north. China was also interested in the development of the NSR. In the 2018 Arctic White Paper and the 14th Five-Year Plan, China mentioned the NSR as part of the Arctic Silk Road. China's use of the NSR has steadily increased, with transits increasing from 27 in 2018 to 62 in 2020. This route, which is projected to provide 25% more economic benefits than the Suez Canal route, is also an important factor in China's growing interest in the NSR. China could reap significant gains from Russia's Northern Sea route and Arctic expansion in general. In contrast, Europe and Japan have a more complex view of the NSR. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, there was a decline in NSR transit due to sanctions imposed on Russia. By 2023, however, transits recovered, with an increase in the transportation of Russian LNG to Europe. Japan has not shunned the NSR despite condemning Russia's actions. This showed that economic advantages were often more important than political considerations. So what is the solution to tilt the balance in the Arctic in favor of the United States and the West? Of course, the recent United States exercises near Alaska are important in this regard. But much more is needed to stop Russia and China in the north. Shifting maritime traffic from the Suez Canal to the Northern Sea route requires the United States to reassess its trade routes and competitive strategies. As European and Asian partners increasingly use the NSR, they will need to maintain good relations with Russia, which could limit their willingness to counter Russia and give Kremlin leader Vladimir Putin a strategic advantage. This would naturally open up important opportunities for China. To prevent this from happening, the United States should take into account this shift in geopolitical power, and at the same time closely monitor the growing partnership between Russia and China in the Arctic. Another way to change the balance in the north is for the West to support the United States in the Arctic. One of the most important ways to minimize risks to the Arctic is through United States relations with its allies. Given sufficient resources and a functioning unified government, the United States strategy can easily bring stability to the Arctic. Thank you for watching.
I'm like, now I'm gonna have to get used to this.
Meet Asana, a work management platform.
Soon, everybody leave out the house, I'm gonna have to get used to the quietness and